Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. In the first place, God made idiots. That was for practice. Then he made school boards. The philosophy of the schoolroom in one generation will be the philosophy of government in the next. Education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character. That is the goal of true education. Develop a passion for learning. If you do, you will never cease to grow. To educate a man in mind and not in morals is to educate a menace to society. Education is the best friend. An educated person is respected everywhere. Education beats the beauty and the youth. Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. You are always a student, never a master. You have to keep moving forward. Education is the ability to listen to almost anything without losing your temper or your self-confidence. Education is an admirable thing, but it is well to remember from time to time that nothing that is worth knowing can be taught. Learning is not attained by chance, it must be sought for with ardor and diligence. Data is not information. Information is not knowledge. Knowledge is not understanding. Understanding is not wisdom. Education is simply the soul of a society as it passes from one generation to another. My mother said I must always be intolerant of ignorance but understanding of illiteracy. That some people, unable to go to school, were more educated and more intelligent than college professors. The goal of education is the advancement of knowledge and the dissemination of truth. And education isn't how much you have committed to memory, or even how much you know. It's being able to differentiate between what you know and what you don't. The only person who is educated is the one who has learned how to learn and change. I would rather entertain and hope that people learned something than educate people and hope they were entertained. The paradox of education is precisely this, that as one begins to become conscious, one begins to examine the society in which he is being educated. It is 1,000 times better to have common sense without education, than to have education without common sense. Learning is a result of listening, which in turn leads to even better listening and attentiveness to the other person. In other words, to learn from the child, we must have empathy, and empathy grows as we learn. Learning is a result of listening, which in turn leads to even better listening and attentiveness to the other person. In other words, to learn from the child, we must have empathy, and empathy grows as we learn.